And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal. The full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
We just started and the chat is already breaking me. Hey, it's Rich Rosso, Financial Fitness Friday, here with Matt Damon.
Good morning.
CFP. Not Matt Damon. I mean, you could tell he looks just like Matt Damon if you're on the chat. I mean, but it's Matt Doyle with us. Danny Bulldog Ratliff. We don't know where he is this morning. I don't know how you do meth shards and run prison yards and still able to get your CFP. I really need to talk to the CFP board about this.
Busy guy.
Very, very interesting. So obviously we're seeing some recovery in markets. Futures are up this morning, but most important, U.S. Treasury yields are continuing to slide. So 10-year Treasury fell more than 1 basis point, 4.6006. So that's definitely the 10-year and the stock market don't get along. So it reminded me of a movie I watched as a kid. It's really a terrible film. But just picture Ray Milland for you young people who don't know who Ray Milland is. Matter of fact, for you young people who don't even know who Rosie Greer is. But there are two people on the same body. A white bigot's head onto a soul brother's body, and boy, do the antics begin. Funniest movie ever, when big Rosie Greer is running down a mountain, and he's got a fake head attached to his shoulder that is supposed to be Ray Milland. And what I'm trying to get to is these two didn't get along until the end. And then what are you going to do? You all have the same body. Eventually, you're going to have to get along. So the point is, they don't get along, but eventually they're going to have to. But to see Treasury yields pull back is actually a good thing for markets. Right, Matt? We definitely see that positive nature in markets when we see some breath, getting in there, getting that yield down, some of that heat going away. That drop in yields is something I haven't witnessed in probably since 93 or 94 that we had not too long ago. That one-day drop in yields was just really shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to get ready or used to the new normal, whatever that looks like. You know, I hate to use that term because I feel like it gets overused, maybe even abused.
It does.
But it's a new rate environment, and lending and borrowing and all of that. You know, people are sensitive to rates.
Well, I think it's part of maybe I'm just wishful thinking, a detox from the market. Listen, it's always about interest rates with the market, but maybe there's a bit of a detox to where you have to start looking at good news as good news.
Right.
Like they did years ago when I first started, and when jobs were good, markets went up. But bad news is not good news until the Fed started to addicting everybody to the drug after the financial crisis. So maybe, just maybe, we're weaning off that to some degree, but we're all going to go through the detoxification together.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's going to be more volatility, possibly bigger moves in yields, right? This transition from a government-led economy back to the private sector is not going to be such an easy handoff, right? And being less dependent on the Fed, and yes, rates are always important. It's just that we have become so myopic on them. When good news comes out, people are spending money, small businesses feel good, whatever it is. Stock market doesn't like it. So listen, yields are a result of inflation and growth, right? That's where longer term yields move. If they start to move or stay where they are, it's because the economy is doing better. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because the Fed's not giving you any juice, market. Okay? This is how Danny Bulldog Ratliff got all the meth shards to all the prison guards. They were addicted. Right? So Danny Bulldog Ratliff was like the Fed. of the prison yard.
I'm going to have to think on that.
Just ponder that.
Yeah.
They were very, very, when they got all excited, like Powell walks out into the prison yard. When Powell walks out into Wall Street, that's what they do. It's the same thing when Danny Bulldog goes out into the prison yard.
Okay.
Yeah, they get all excited. We got to stop it. But the transition for all of us as investors is going to be important. Now, I'll tell you, we study yields, we study bond markets, we talk about this narrative of, oh gosh, the deficit's going crazy, all this, yields are higher, rates are going to go explode with the debt we have, which is ridiculous. But keep this in mind. That doesn't mean you make short-term changes to your portfolio. You might tweak because maybe you don't want to deal with the hemorrhaging when yields are up. But look at the longer-term premise as best you can. The problem is narratives in markets that drive markets. You know what I've noticed, Matt, is they last much, much longer.
Sure.
Larry Smith's talking about Eliza Dushku, which has taken my focus away from topics. Whatever Larry has in the morning, I think is supplied by Danny Bulldog Ratliff, because that,
Are we picking up new sponsors for the show?
No. Not anymore, no. We were, but after this morning's discussion, probably not. And Lance, I bought you some candy, so you don't have to go through my candy jar. But somebody else did, and you're going to pay for that, because the next chocolate candy on my desk starts with X and ends with Lax. So that's how it goes. Now, we could talk about a lot of things today, but we do have room at the summit. This is going to be I want to tell you, Lance Roberts, Michael Leibowitz presentations are beyond academic. You will learn something, whether you're doing this on your own, whether you're using our help and you can see our expertise. Live in person, I think, according to Matt Damon, we've got maybe 6 to 9 seats left.
There's a handful, I believe.
There's a handful. Registration's $149. I will tell you, you are going to get so much information for $149, okay? Registration and continental breakfast at the Hotel Sinesta. You can go ahead and sign up at Real Investment Advice. And also, we will be selling copies of Danny's book at the front. And I'm not going to let Danny go on this. This is going to be my whole year, by the way. You're all going to get sick of this as much as you're going to get sick of Janet Yellen, okay? Now, speaking of Janet Yellen.
We're going to make up a name tag that
says Danny
Bulldog. Yeah.
You should let Larry fry in for free. Yeah, if we needed entertainment, I would absolutely do that. That would be absolutely worth it. So, Janet Yellen came out yesterday and said that she smoked weed in high school. But her brain is still deteriorated from it. That's my... It's just shocked.
I did. I got all crazy. And then I had mushrooms in China. I didn't even know. I'm shocked. I don't like this new Treasury Secretary.
But I do. Mr. Bessa did a really good job. I think it's going to be great. We get back, we're going to talk about a lot of things, including what fiduciary advisors can learn from Jimmy Carter when we return. We'll be right back.
Daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
What will a Trump presidency mean for your money? What is the market outlook under the new administration's policies? Register now for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency, featuring Adam Taggart of Thoughtful Money, RIA Portfolio Manager Michael Leibowitz, and Chief Investment Strategist Lance Roberts with the RIA crew. Saturday, January 18th. Register today for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com. Register today.
Will you be turning 65 in 2025? Happy birthday! But there's a Medicare special enrollment period in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA advisors, online resources, and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid those gaps in coverage. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube page has all of our videos ready for your easy access. From 3 minutes on markets and money to each day's radio shows like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel for The Real Investment Show, or just click on the show links at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So I am very impressed with Scott Bessent. I think he schooled the committee yesterday. What's interesting is just outside of the Treasury component, the Federal Reserve has been promoting more Wall Street backgrounds than it has in the past. What the new Treasury Secretary and some of the new members of the Fed, new appointment to the Cleveland Bank, is that the Fed does not need to lower rates. There's absolutely no reason to cut interest rates.
What does he know? We need to cut rates. That's how I afford my new drugs.
So you are going to be dealing with a new dynamic in markets that I think, Matt, will be very Main Street focused, which I think is great, which should spill into Wall Street. But sometimes Main Street and Wall Street don't get along. And one of those, and I mean by what I mean by that is one of the funniest things that Biden said in his closing is about the oligarchy. But according to Bloomberg, the American oligarchy under Biden gained $1.5 trillion in wealth. The very richest Americans were the biggest winners from President Joe Biden's time in office. $1.5 trillion richer. Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg. That's based on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The top 0.1% gained more than $6 trillion. So this struck me as funny, Matt, only because when I've been talking to clients, I have to know where the clients are in their lives. If I'm dealing with young accumulators that have a couple of children, and they're trying to make ends meet, they don't see the economy the same way as maybe decumulators, older boomers who have no debt, have money in the market, and their houses have gone up, right? That, it's just a tale of what I called it last year, a tale of two economies. And you had to adjust accordingly, right? Because even though inflation hurt the richest, like they winced when they went to the store, they still did what they had to do and paid the price. And that's just what happens when you have a very market-driven economy, right? We've seen that over the last 11 to 15 years. So if you go back to maybe where Main Street wins and wages go up, and maybe there are some ways to trim out the public sector, whatever it might be. I'm just thinking this transition to maybe Main Street, if that is the case, we still don't know, quite frankly. who's going to benefit from this, right? In some ways, a lot of people benefit from the stock market going up, but it's not that important. I mean, how many people really do invest in stocks or their plans? They just care about putting food on the table. My child's in childcare, that's through the roof. My insurance, forget about it. I can't even talk about that. So we have to consider that somewhere along the line, we have to meld these two. And we'll see, I don't know if it happens in this administration. Maybe it happens in an administration, Matt, that we're not alive for,
Yeah, I'm not really sure where to go with that.
Well, it's just like when you deal with clients,
Yeah.
right? You have to realize, right, if you're dealing with a lot of people that maybe don't feel good about the economy, they're still spending because they have had all this stock market wealth. They've accumulated, right? Their houses have gone up, as opposed to us dealing with younger clients that are seeing the trials and tribulations of the inflation and feeling the impact of higher home prices than others.
Well,
So that tale of two economies, eventually maybe those roads intersect, but they seem so far apart. I'm not really sure they do it in this administration. We'll have to see.
yeah, I mean, I'm not really one to opine on the political aspect of things, but
Talk about the economic stuff.
From an economic standpoint, I think, first of all, people just in general, I believe, are inundated with data, consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it becomes overwhelming.
We might be past that point, right?
Oh,
We're getting
yeah. I
bombarded
mean,
every day.
the 24-hour news cycle to me is, and this is part of the reason I don't do social media. I don't really care for the new hack on TikTok.
Yep.
I was telling Brent the other day about condensed soup. I can't believe that this is a thing, but my daughter was showing it to me at dinner that some woman figured out that you're supposed to add water to Campbell's condensed soup, and she figured out a hack. And I'm thinking, well, it says it right on the back of the can.
Add water.
Just add water. But at any rate,
So Matt's kids are cracking.
yeah. So yeah.
Hey,
so,
Dad, you hear about this new thing called condensed soup?
Yeah. So, but I mean, from an economic standpoint, I think, culturally, Americans are just, I don't want to say, and this will dovetail into our fiduciary discussion, but I don't want to say all Americans necessarily are selfish, but as a culture, we tend to vote, whether that's with our money or our vote at the ballot box, from a self-interested standpoint. And so it's a lot easier for us to look at, what's termed kitchen table issues, and your economic position is going to dictate in a lot of ways, your perception and your sort of value list of what, is at the top of your list versus the bottom in terms of where you prioritize your life. And I find that, so many people out there, it's amazing that, there's not a lot of people that you can run into that really honestly put other people first, that really have a sort of, a humanitarian outlook on life where their desire is to benefit other folks. And this is, to the subject of the theme of the show today. I think, when we look back, it's a lot easier to redefine history and looking back on things. But when we look back now at President Carter and we take some of his examples, for us as fiduciaries, there's sort of that dichotomy, for whatever you liked or didn't like about his politics, the guy built houses for the poor.
That's right.
He championed rights for African Americans.
Yep.
And he did a lot, from a giving standpoint to try and help other people or put other people first. And as an RIA, as a registered investment advisor, when I work with clients, I use the term fiduciary, but it's not something that I take lightly. And there are firms out there, I believe, that throw that word around and don't really take it to heart. For us, it's an honor to work for the clients that we work for. And it really is, in my mind, an educational experience. We want to talk to clients about what their options are, but help them to make an informed decision. And I think that's the right approach, and it's hard to turn around because for so long, right? Stock market was about a commission. They needed the stockbroker needed to convince you to buy this stock. And if he was successful in convincing you to buy or sell that stock, then he charged a commission on that. And slowly over time, when I started in the business, it was just starting fee-based accounts in early 2000. And that whole thing, moving away from a sales mentality into a service, that I'm trying to help a client is I don't want to say contra to the way society works, but it's a separate mindset of let me go get that sale.
It didn't go very well for me.
No?
With that, because when I first started, I started at a firm called J.T. Moran, which was the topic for the movie Boiler Room.
Right. Yeah. First movie I saw Vin Diesel in.
Right.
Yeah.
So Vin Diesel played my boss.
Okay.
That was based on our office in Garden City, New York.
Okay.
I went in there because I've had family members who were stockbrokers in the 60s.
Yeah.
Who actually did research. Yes, they were selling for a commission, but they were also they didn't, like my uncle was a terrible salesperson. I'm like, how was he a stockbroker? Because he studied markets.
Right.
And read, like he was a very studious guy. That's what I always thought a stockbroker was until I found out that you're really there to break something, not fix something as a broker.
Sure.
Right? Get it? Broker?
Right.
Okay. So I go into JT Moran and I'm offering clients Coca-Cola, Philip Morris, at that time, even LA Gear, if they wanted to get a little bit more excitement. And they're like, no, you got to push this other stuff. And let me show you how it's done. So I'm like, if I studied and did all of this, and this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
Right? But to your point, once we started to make this transition, I got my CFP, Certified Financial Planning Certification, in 1998. Once we started going in that direction, I thought the CFP was a great way to go. I said, oh my gosh, this industry is definitely maybe going to catch up. And I agree with something you just said, is the fact that I think that word fiduciary gets thrown around, and I think people know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the consistency in your actions,
right? The
culture of your firm. If you are really adhering to that high standard with duties of loyalty, putting clients first. And that's why when you look at it, that's why I think this is such a great piece. Jimmy Carter personified fiduciary.
Right.
Even when he was president and I was a kid at the time, I always felt like he loved the country, even though he was maybe off base with his policies, but whatever but the point was, I don't think he had a bad or insidious bone in his body. Like I really thought he loved the country.
Yeah.
His background, how he grew up. I did get a kick out of Billy. I really did. So his high standard that he kept on for years was a fiduciary ethos, right? And we're going to talk about that when we get back, because again, I do think fiduciary gets thrown around a little bit too much. And I don't think Matt is really going to cry if TikTok is gone either.
No,
he seems like he's
I don't believe I'll miss it much.
I like this guy, Matt Damon. He's pretty good. When I promote a movie for the Trump administration, I'm going to do one about Matt Damon Doyle, the fiduciary Rocky of our time.
Thanks, Sylvester.
You're welcome, Adrian. Be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
What will a Trump presidency mean for your money? What is the market outlook under the new administration's policies? Register now for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency, featuring Adam Taggart of Thoughtful Money, RIA Portfolio Manager Michael Leibowitz, and Chief Investment Strategist Lance Roberts with the RIA crew. Saturday, January 18th. Register today for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com. Register today. Register today.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
I loved having everybody at home. It was great. Kids were all here. Daughters brought boyfriends, etc. Big full house of people. I was so thrilled when they all left.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
My wife said after they left, she's like, yes, alone again.
Same show, your schedule.
I was actually talking to my daughter. I said, I'm going to put a sign on your bedroom door that says Mackenzie's B&B.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Because she shows up, she gets fed free breakfast, free lunch, free dinner, and then somebody magically makes her room before she leaves, right? So,
Why would you leave?
I know, right?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
If you're working and looking to retire soon, a Medicare special enrollment period is in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors' online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid gaps in coverage. Click on the Insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access, like Technically Speaking Tuesday and the latest analysis from Lance Roberts and Michael Leibowitz. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
I would dare to say we are the only show in the nation that has an American murderer, suspected killer, serial killer, and body snatcher on our chat. Ed Gein. So it's nice to know that even though he's known as the Plainfield Ghoul, he's also interested in learning about money from RIA.
We welcome all.
We do. And one thing we know he won't slaughter is his portfolio. I tell you, if we could just post the chat and have a chat bot read it for the show, we don't have to be here. It's that entertaining. So, yeah, Ed said you're welcome. That's right before he killed you. He says you're welcome.
Right.
That's what he
Put this on.
Before he eats your face, he calls you. He says, thank you. And you're welcome. He's a polite serial killer. He's learned his manners.
He's got the manners.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. He was raised right.
He was. Something went wrong.
He had mushrooms with me in China, and then all of a sudden he went crazy.
The mild-mannered serial killer.
The polite one. Oh my God, that Ed Gein story is freaking horrifying, and a lot of horror movies were created because of it, including Texas Chainsaw to some degree. But I'm just saying, it's nice to have him on our chat because he's not here.
Keeps us honest.
He can't hurt anybody. And Brent's a pretty big target, so we don't want.
For those folks out in radio world, log on to YouTube and take a dive into the chat.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Bring a snorkel.
Yeah, I don't know if the Friday chat is as crazy as the rest of the week because I know the rest of the week is pretty bad. But Friday seems where Larry Smith is really
coming into his own.
He's on Saturn, right? And he's communicating from the rings. He's got skin in the investment game, Ed Gain. He says, Ed Gain says he has skin in the investment. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah. That is pretty good. Yeah, tangent. You said it. Big one. So Jimmy Carter was a public fiduciary. I will tell you, I got in big. So there are some my former firm, there are actually some people who listen to the show. I've gotten some messages over the last week. I'm like, oh my gosh. Thank you. But because I did conduct in a fiduciary manner at a brokerage firm, I got in big trouble.
Yeah, they don't like that.
They don't like it. So this extraordinarily or extremely high standard is not something your advisory or usually broker wirehouses want. They want you to be sales first, allegiance to the firm first.
Right.
As fiduciaries, we have it the other way around.
Yeah,
right?
and you know
that's. But you know what, Matt? I don't know, but I think you, as a fiduciary like you are, and people we bring into the firm, which has one focus in mind, which is the client and the client experience. I don't know if you're just born that way or should you be that way, because we have interviewed people that you could just tell in their hearts that they were not fiduciary. And I think clients really do sense if you have their best interest in mind, don't you? It's like a sixth sense of a kind, not the one that Ed Guy will take away from you with a knife. This is the one that, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how's the joke go? It's hard to fake sincerity. So,
Matt Damon's on a roll. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was in that world, just as you were, and I would hear from, and this was across the whole environment, but I would hear from managers, you'd have a Series 7, which for the listening audience out there, a Series 7 is a FINRA license, that's a brokerage license. And then, for example, what we have, the CFP designation or 65, which is a license that's issued by the SEC, basically. So it's two different reporting structures. And in these environments, in the big banks and brokerages, they have both. They'll have the Series 7 and they'll have, either a CFP or a 65, 66. And the managers will come in and say, okay, well, the way we delineate this is, in this conversation or in this paragraph of that conversation, you're a salesman. And in this area over here, that's when you're acting as a fiduciary. And it's confusing not only to the advisor, but it's confusing as hell to the client. They don't know. And you expect them to pick that out whenever you're sitting across the table from them trying to recommend, a path through their financial plan. It's just confusing. So to me, it's, pick one side. If you want to be a salesman, that's fine.
That's okay. You can still do great work and do honest, truthful work. It's just that you don't have the client's best interest first.
Right.
And that won't sit right with you for some people. And when we were at A&M, talking to younger students that were just graduating, or I talk to young advisors that are or people that want to be, I say, listen, there's two roads. There's the sales road, and that's not a four-letter word. If you could be great in sales and really care about your clients, I know a lot of salespeople in a lot of different industries that absolutely do care. Or you could take that next level up, that fiduciary, extremely high standard, and that's up to you. So depending on where you go, right?
And I mean, to be fair and honest about it, I mean, what we do in the end is a business. I mean, we charge a fee for service, but our fee aligns us with the client. We want to see you do better, and therefore we'll do better. But
how many times I tell clients, how many clients, you probably have the same thing, Matt, where clients will come in with statements from other firms or life insurance, and we'll say, listen, this looks fine. It fits into your plan. There's no reason to make a change. To have that power, because you're doing what's right for the client. I mean, you don't want, it's like Macy's sending people over to Gimbel's.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's because you have the client's best interest in mind.
Right.
In the article, this is from Investment News, it's pretty interesting. It says the industry environment for fiduciary advisors remains unfriendly. Over the past 20 years, the industry and some regulators have continued to claim that the fiduciary and fee-only practices are not a higher standard. That's bullcrap. Not that what was written, but that is absolutely true because they don't understand, because they themselves don't understand that fiduciary mindset, and they couldn't be that way. And that's part of the Investment Advisors Act and affirmed by the Supreme Court, the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. You're going to follow that road or you're going to be in sales. Yeah. Either way, it's fine.
Well, I mean, I think the big banks and the big institutions look at it and they say, well, if we're a salesman, our liability is limited because the standard's lower, right? When you're required to put the client interest first, you have a higher standard of responsibility. When you're a salesman, I can't remember what the name of the rule is, but it's basically like all that broker, if there's some kind of malfeasance that's suggested, you know, that broker only has to show that product was right at that time.
Suitability, right?
Suitability.
And we have suitability, but we have to take it to the next level.
Yeah, but the point is that there's no ongoing requirement from that broker to make sure that product is still suitable, you know, in the long term. It just had to be suitable at the time of sale.
And I think brokers ruin the annuity business and life insurance business. There are reasons to own these products.
Sure.
But that's all that they sell, and people own products they don't understand or they possibly didn't even need. When we run a plan, right? Someone who's got concern for long-term care, and we could look at a plan and say, well, you don't really need it.
Right.
Or if you do need it, it's very surgical in its approach, right? Maybe we're going to insure the one who might live the longest for X amount of care, so it's not inundating in cost.
Right.
So we approach everything in a fiduciary manner as opposed to just selling a product. I don't even know how you can purchase insurance or sell insurance without knowing a client's full picture.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you need long-term care. Just because you're worried about it, that's a good thing. But that doesn't mean that I'm just going to sell you the product.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you only need it on one person. I don't know. And then people cannot afford the premiums anymore.
Right.
Right? And that's even on whole life insurance, which I love. I love permanent life insurance. But life insurance gets sold inappropriately. We have to do it in a different way. We have to do it in a different way.
Well, if you're carrying around a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
That's true. That's true. That's what Ed Gein said.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody was a nail to him. Banged him in the head with a hammer. So Ed Gein's missing from the chat now. I guess he's busy with other things. And he's screaming you here from his neighborhood. You know what's going on. So the most important thing, and I think about Jimmy Carter itself, I think he lived a noble life. I think, and again, you know, I like when people they try to, oh yeah, well, his policies. Well, I don't care about his policies. He was much better after being president. And even when he was president, to me, he had a good heart. And I'll take that over what I see as the soulless, heartless crap I see today. Mm-hmm. So the point I'm making to you is I think that if you approach clients in that manner, the way Jimmy Carter conducted himself throughout his life for other people, you're going to be a great advisor. Actually, you're going to be great in whatever you do. Oh, Ed's still here. I guess his victim, he's
gagged.
He was cleaning up. Yeah, he was cleaning up. He's back. So my cousin had a can of Billy beer, and he still has it. I said, I got to go on eBay and see how much a can of Billy beer
is going for.
Yeah. Right now. When we get back, we're going to be talking about the Secure Act and the mess with catch-up contributions and Roth and the tizzy everybody is in. Because, again, the IRS can't get their stuff together. And plan sponsors are having a problem with it, and I understand. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk a little bit about it before we wrap up the show. We'll talk to you when we get back. Stay cool, Ed.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
What will a Trump presidency mean for your money? What is the market outlook under the new administration's policies? Register now for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency, featuring Adam Taggart of Thoughtful Money, RIA Portfolio Manager Michael Leibowitz, and Chief Investment Strategist Lance Roberts with the RIA crew. Saturday, January 18th. Register today for the RIA Economic Summit 2025 Market Outlook under a Trump presidency at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com. Register today.
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a para-fiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
I wonder who would win a boxing match between Danny Bulldog Ratliff and Ed Gein. That would be interesting. I definitely in Danny Bulldog Ratliff's corner. He's definitely got the stuff. He'll be knocked down and then he'll get back up. But he's got to stop hitting people with those HSAs because he loves those HSAs, health savings accounts. That's like Danny Bulldog Ratliff's Adrian.
So you're taken care of after he puts you in the hospital.
Exactly. Then you have to drain your HSA. So the Secure Act being messed up as it is, there's a few good things. Danny Bulldog and I have been talking about years how Roth was going to be the prize. Roth was going to be popular because it's the J.G. Wentworth of accounts. The government needs cash now. So we had all these new proposed regs, right? First, we have this new supersized catch-up options if you're 50 and older for 60 to 63 years old. Don't ask me why, Matt, why did we magically pick 60 to 63? Is that because people retire at 65? I have no idea.
Who knows why they do what they do, but
exactly.
Here it is.
I have no clue. Okay. So the point is you're able to put additional catch-up contributions in if you're 60 to 63 years old. The point is your benefits administrator, is your sponsor able to do it? That's what you have to keep in mind. But most important are going to be these in 2026. If you are making $145,000 or more, you have to do your match, your catch-up contributions in Roth. Yeah. It's mandatory. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But the problem you're going to have is, and this is why it's been postponed for a couple of years, is your plan sponsor going to be able to do it? So let me take a step back. If you're going to make additional catch-up contributions this year, That's what the government says you should be doing. That doesn't mean your plan sponsor has the ability for you to do it. So if you are a super saver and you are going to do this, you want to call your plan sponsor or benefits provider and say, hey, listen, these new catch-up provisions, I'm able to supersize them, right? I could do more money. Am I going to be able to do it through my salary deferral? Is that going to happen? So that's the first thing. Also, if I have Roth 401k, and we're very big proponents for Roth 401k, your match, your employer match, has been going into pre-tax. You technically, with the Secure Act, have the ability to move it to Roth. That does not mean your plan sponsor is able to do it. It is not mandatory to do it. So you have to ask about that. So we have a lot of good things as super savers and those that are sensitive to taxes in retirement can do or should be able to do, but may not be able to do. But next year, the Rothification of their catch-up contributions is mandatory.
Required.
So what the government is saying is, listen, if you all don't get your act in order, companies, we are going to stop or prohibit catch-up contributions from everybody. Pre-tax, post-tax, Ed-Gein tax, nothing. You are not going to be able to do them. I think that would be a big problem, Matt. I think that will get them off their you know what. But the record-keeping costs to figure this all out are going to be costly.
And it's not only the record-keeping piece. I mean, just cost in general are going up because, take even a higher look at it. What's the incentive for the Roth? Why would the government make a law to push people into at least some part in the Roth? Well, the answer is, as Rich pointed out, they get the tax money now. They're paying taxes on that. Well, if you're a W-2 employee, right, and you're paying FICA tax, you're paying Social Security tax, so it's about 14%. 7% is paid by you, 7% by the employer. So if the employer has to do a match, right, or any kind of contribution in that Roth area, then their payroll expense is going to go up.
Right.
And not only is the payroll expense going to go up, but they've got this plan administrator over here that is, required to do the bookkeeping and things of that sort. Their costs are going to go up because they're going to have to buy another room full of nerds to go and figure all of this out, right? Do the math.
Yeah, you're going to need bean counter. You got to figure out, pull all that data, keep track of that data.
Yep. So, and even, by the way, some small, mid-sized companies, they embed those costs, those administrative costs, in your own sub-accounts. So a lot of times the employees end up paying a rise in costs. So costs just in general go up. And back to the comments we were making about fiduciaries and stuff of that nature, the plan administrator and your execs at the company execs are trustees of your plan. So by the word trustee and how that word is defined, those people are fiduciaries to you as the employee. They have to put your interest ahead of theirs. That's case law. That's settled. So, there's a lot of things to juggle, and that's, I think, why probably, Rich, that this is pushed out and not going to be enforced for a couple of years, because it needs, this has to percolate and get through the system.
I love the fact, and I am for free markets, but I think it's great that these catch-up contributions are in Roth, because we're getting people to understand when you retire and all your money in pre-tax accounts, you have no tax control whatsoever. Having some money in after-tax accounts, brokerage accounts, is very important to get together a tax-efficient retirement income. Otherwise, as Danny Bulldog Ratliff says, you'll be acting as nervous as a crackhead in chapter 32. I've been reading this book all morning since we got here. Yeah.
And also, just to point out as well, we come into a situation a lot of times where clients will have 60, 70, 80% of their net worth in an IRA because that was what
they
was
were told,
only
right?
available
and
at
that
the
was
time.
the only available, and that
Right?
was what was pushed.
But
Correct.
but from an estate planning standpoint, if you're married, your spouse is going to take that over as a spousal IRA. It basically goes in the surviving spouse's name. But future generations, as we talked about the last time I was on the show, are going to be pressed to take all of that money out in 10 years. And by the way, most states, for example, protect, this is why OJ moved to Florida. Most of the states protect your retirement money from liability. He's taking notes.
Ed and OJ.
But it's
They're opening up
protected
a
from
bar called
liability.
Ed and OJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't get sued, right?
No,
or if
right.
you get sued, the IRA money's protected. That's not the case for your kids. If your kids get in a car accident and they've got this IRA that you left to them, and they get, they are found at fault for a car accident, they can come get that money.
That's right.
And there's not as many estate planning techniques that you can use in order to efficiently protect those funds from those liabilities. So it's always good to have a mix, right? You want your pre-tax, you want your post-tax, and you want your after-tax. All together is going to make sure that you have the ability to not only control taxes, but estate plan efficiently.
Absolutely. I mean, you have just taken a traditional IRA from a legacy tool into a legacy weapon because it's not going to work. It's not worth it.
Right.
Unless you're going to move it to Roth. If that is your intent. Matter of fact, in our planning software, we want to get a gauge of where the marginal tax rates are for your beneficiaries,
right.
non-spouse. And that's really very important. This kind of planning, having an advisor that you work with, us or not, we have to consistently stay abreast of changes. Because, again, a lot of this, even though it looks firm, Matt, it's still going to be up in the air as far as implementation.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some people I know that are going to be disappointed that they're not able maybe perhaps to have their matching contributions in Roth. Or maybe they're not going to be able to do the catch-up. But frankly, how many people really are saving? I mean, you're gonna tick off the super savers and the higher wage earners at your company.
Right.
And maybe you don't want to do that. So, but listen, a day without coffee is like, just kidding, I have no idea. That is absolutely true. I have no idea what it's like without coffee in the morning. Brent's already on his 30th cup at this point overall. But listen, we are going to be talking about so many things, especially bonds, at the 2025 Economic Summit. Lance will have a great presentation. Adam will be there. Adam Taggart. Michael Leibowitz. Actually, we'll all be there. We're going to have a panel talking about your financial planning questions. You have Social Security questions, Medicare. But you're there to talk to us. We'll have a continental breakfast in the morning. Listen.
Danny will be doing autographs, I heard.
Oh, yeah. Danny Bulldog?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yes, this is in the book here. Nobody knew what was going on. That sounds like tomorrow. So this is from page 205. So yeah, come see us. Come see Danny Bulldog. I promise he'll be very nice to you tomorrow. We'll make sure that he's not doing any shards of anything.
Get him up early.
Get him up early, man. I want to tell you one thing, man. I like this Matt Damon on the radio show. Very good. I like him in movies, too. Very good, this Matt Damon Doyle. All right, listen, guys. Monday's a holiday. Now Tuesday, weather is going to be a little, we're going to see. Hopefully there is a show and not a big winter storm. But, I think that Lance has got the Hummer. He'll probably make it here anyway. Hopefully we talk to you Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay warm. Thanks for tuning in. You too, Larry. Ed Gein, don't look me up.